people very often do need a structure to their lives. So they're looking for something a little less controlling, something a little less set in its ways and judgmental. I'm Deb, and I've been a pagan for all my life as far as I can remember. I'm traditional or old pagan, which is more to do with being earth-based, don't have any deities, so therefore no gods or goddesses to worship or give thanks to. I'm just basically thankful that the rock that we live on is still working, still running, and it's celebrating the seasons that come every year. Organised religions never made sense to me, so although I had a semi-Christian upbringing from one side of my family, it never seemed to make an awful lot of sense, and I was always looking for something else, something to be that made sense to me. My dad particularly would take me out and teach me about hedgerow herbs and how they were healing and what you could use them for and other bits and pieces, and that made more sense, so I started to look further into that. So rather than, you know, sort of an epiphany, it was just a gradual process from being very small.
They're quite loud. Yeah. Sorry, did you catch that over there, Steve?
My personal practice is that of the Hag Test, which is a reconstructionist path of the Old Anglo-Saxon path. There are sort of a resurgence now in reconstructionist paths which hark back to pre-Christian belief in a number of countries. So there is a big range of them. So it is part of that movement.
All sort of ancient instruments. We make shamanic frame drums, rawhide instruments, blowing horns, deer bone flutes, and they're all like animal product that we work with. As an extension of that, we were then asked if we could make drinking horns and tankards, so we've developed into that, and we're, as far as I know, the only company in the UK producing them in the style we are, which is as they would have been sort of circa 400-500 CE.
A couple of years ago I left working full-time as a mental health nurse, and I always wanted to have a crystal shop, but more importantly somewhere where I could have a place where people could meet and talk about alternative spirituality and things like crystal healing, Reiki, shamanic practice, meditation and so on. So I was lucky enough to find a premises I could afford to buy outright. And crystals go way back in time. As far back as you look, crystals have always been used in divination and healing. So they're very important. Sage is very good for cleansing. Very popular shamanic practice. Burn a bit of sage in a abalone shell. And the idea is that you have a feather to waft air across it to keep it lit and move it around an area and it cleanses. So this is North American sage, which is very popular. If you try and use local European sage, it just doesn't burn. It's not the same, but it's very good.
I think some of the stigmatism's changing. I think it's still there, and I think, to be honest, I don't think we're special in that respect. I think every religion has it in some way, shape or form. But it used to be, you used to get the sort of people saying, you know, is it linked to, you know, devil worship and you know, all the old stigmas. But now it's changing slightly, and because the pagan community is so involved in, let's say, a lot of environmental issues, you sometimes get the reputation of being quite a reactionary community, and sometimes that doesn't play to your favours brilliantly.
It's seen as being devil worship, baby eating. We're all in corners doing black magic and hexing people and performing black arts and black rites, and it's just not the way it is. Yes, there's people who perceive themselves to be that way, but there's people who aren't very nice in every walk of life, and unfortunately, because that's the exciting side of it, I suppose, it's the bit that people perceive that we're all into, which just isn't the case. So basically what we've got, this end tends to be more for the sort of esoteric, pagan, witchcraft, whatever you want to call it. Tarot cards, books that are probably useful for people who want to find out a bit more about that type of thing. Crystal ball, scrying mirrors. Now they're used similar to a crystal ball, however they're actually made from obsidian, which just looks like black glass. But if you're able to reflective read, which is what crystal ball gazing is, you can do it with one of those as well. Some people can, I can't. Tried, didn't work. No, they're not Harry Potters. These are actually made by two witches up in Edinburgh from wood in their actual garden. So again, they're a focus tool as much as anything. There's not going to be sparks or anything out the end, but they help you wanting to focus. Salt lamps. This is actually interesting. It's made from Himalayan salt. You can put it on your dinner. You can actually buy it to put on your dinner. It tastes just the same. But when it's got the heat coming through it, it ionises the air, so it's like being at the seaside. So if somebody's got like an asthma or something wrong with the chest or bad breathing, it can actually help with that because it neutralises the negative ions in the air. So it's quite hard to define what we do. It's not something that you can put into one, a bit like paganism. A little bit of everything. You can't stick it all into one big pot, or you can, but it kind of dilutes it, which sounds daft considering you're putting everything in together. So that's about it, really. Paganism's never been there to control. Unfortunately, the likes of Christianity was put in place to control. The people needed controlling, the people needed to be brought together, not always for the wrong reasons, but it kind of had the knock-on effect where it became the wrong reasons. So anything that didn't agree with that was kind of dumbed down and made to look bad and made to look evil and nasty and everything else. So yeah, as I said, again, it's all about knowledge. I think now people are so more enlightened as to the world around them. They're not just accepting what they're told anymore. So yeah, I think there is going to be a resurgence. And I don't think Christianity will ever die out because obviously there's still going to be a core there of people who want to believe it. But apart from that, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot more growth in the other side of things, hopefully.